No, she hasn't started. You started now? Okay. In the first place, I want to thank every one of you for
anytime, Victor.
just coming.
Yeah.
You know, because it's something impromptu, something sudden, no advance notice, and we just comply.
Yeah.
So it's so to go straight to the point, I want to talk about fatherlessness in America. This is not just a disease, in my personal opinion, but it has become an epidemic. And it has a lot of social, psychological, and economic problems that are associated with fatherlessness. You see, America, most developed or industrialized nations, as well as some underdeveloped countries today, are going through fatherlessness. No father in the house. Father is absent. You know, we're going towards, drifting towards a fatherless society. And I wish to everybody an adult should be of serious concern. And that is the reason why I chose this topic. We are gradually becoming a no-father generation and a single-parent nation with an avalanche or myriad of psychological, sociological, social problems. The father factor has also become a cankerworm, visible in virtually all the fabrics of our society today, and in all our social maladies, such as education. You find the effect of fatherlessness in education. You find the effect of fatherlessness in crime. You find the effect of fatherlessness in incarceration, number of people in prison. Then you find the effect of fatherlessness in violence and child abuse. Why do we have less and less of fathers today? Why is it that today, and even right now, or even this night, 1 out of 3 children in America will go to bed with just one parent? The mother, to be very precise, without his or her natural or biological father. Statistics show that 43% of U.S. children live without fathers. They do not have somebody to cheer them up, somebody to share their dreams, somebody to read them stories and bring them a glass of water or even prepare food for them. Kiss them goodbye when they're going to school, or good night when they're going to bed, and then lead them in prayers. This is unthinkable and unimaginable. How do we save fatherhood? How do we save the family, which is the foundation of the society, and save the American society from the brink of social collapse? That's our big problem today. That's our big question today. There is just nobody in this country who will say he or she is not affected, either directly or indirectly. If it doesn't affect you, then you know someone that has been affected. Or you know someone who knows someone that has been affected. That is the problem we have today in our country. In the first place, let's ask ourselves, who is a father? According to Dr. David Propin, he's a sociologist, say fathers are far more than just second adults in the home. They are people who are involved as fathers, being positive benefit, being of positive benefits to their children that no other person is as likely to bring. So the absence of a father in the house doesn't mean the absence of a man. It's not the same thing as the absence of an adult. The absence of someone who is involved in the child, in the life of a child, in the upbringing of a child. The presence or availability of a father in a child's life brings about huge direction and success to the child's life. The presence of a father in the home enhances cognitive ability, the ability to think, to reason, the ability to do well even in school, educational achievement, psychological well-being, and social behavior. I quote words, books, he writes, he said, anyone, I quote, anyone can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a dad. And that's why I call you dad. He was referring to his father, because you are so special to me. You taught me the game, and you taught me how to play it right. We know Bill Cosby, even though he's going through some issues today, but he has a quote about father. And he said, nothing I have ever done has given me joys and rewards than being a father to my children. You know Pope John Paul. This one is Pope John Paul the 23rd. He says, and I quote, it is easier for a father to have children than for children to have a big father. So a father is not just a man in the house. That's what we come to understand. So let's look at the generation of fatherlessness or fatherless children today. Research shows in 2008 across America, there were about 70.1 million fathers. And out of these 70.1 million fathers, 24.7 million were part of the married couple families with children younger than 18. And then 60% were part of father-absent homes or families. 24% were present in the home, involved in the lives of the children, but 60% were absent. Physically, or emotionally, or spiritually, they were absent.
Financially.
They were absent, which is huge. And statistics also shows that between 1950 and 1954, 8% of children spent their childhood with one parent. Only 8% between 1950 and 1954. 8% of children in America were with their fathers. So that was exceptional. That means 92% had their fathers present and involved in their lives in this country between 1950 and 1954. But guess what? In 1980, it began to diminish really. Whites had 31%, and blacks were 59%. But today, guess what? 24 million children in America live in homes without the physical presence of a father, while several millions of fathers, though physically present, but are emotionally absent. In 2012, and currently, we have the following statistics about children who live in the absence of their biological fathers. And here it goes. Blacks, 57.6% of children among the black race have no father. That is huge compared to 1950 and 1952. The Hispanics, 31.2% of children live without their fathers. And then the whites, 20.7% live without their fathers. Yeah. So you can see that the white race, they are doing much better than the Hispanic and the blacks.
Because they are married.
Yes, they are married. So there are factors, there are issues we also found out that are really, that contribute so much to this. Number one is the divorce rate. Of all we have said, the amount of people or children that live without their fathers, 44% is being contributed by divorce. That means most marriages in America, almost 50% end up in divorce. And then what happens? Leave those children without fathers. Another factor we also found out from my research is out of wedlock or never married, which means men fathering children not out of wedlock. So that was another factor we found. These are the two major factors, but there are other minor factors like separation. Yes. Yeah. So, like separation, like being widowed, which is the minutest, 4.2. So So these are all problems within our society.
Any questions?
And then in conclusion, I know I'm expecting questions, but in conclusion, let's look at this. According to the U.S. Department of Census, it said 43% of U.S. citizens live without their fathers. And then we also have issues with people who are in prison. We also have child abuse, cases of child abuse, behavioral problems, and then the issue of social life. Children without fathers end up being less and less social. They exhibit a lot of anger issues, and then tolerance and abuse. Then they also have the problem of child abuse, anger, like we have seen. So before I get into the conclusion, do you have any questions?
Yes. What do you think is the best way to fix this problem?
Fine. I see that in my conclusion. I said in conclusion, the consequences of father absence or fatherless homes, which already we have seen, they are huge and may consume our country. I said in the nearest future, in collaboration with other social matters, if not addressed now, how do we stop the cycle of fatherlessness in America? So how do we rescue Americans from an impending doom? So the solution is not far-fetched. I suggest, this is my personal suggestion, based on this little research. So I suggest we go back to the drawing board and closely look at the source and the point of our derailment. We know there is always a point of derailment in our lives personally, like the rail, the train. Something happens at the point, and so there is a point of derailment. Now, what is the point of derailment? So we need to take a more closer and proactive look at the original design of our purpose for the family, the traditional marriage institution, the children, and the role of parents. So what am I saying as a solution? We need to go back to the design of marriage. Marriage institution was established, instituted by God himself. And just like the manual for creation, manual for your automobile, you need to look at it. If it's failing, the gear is failing. If the brake is failing, then you go back and consult the manual. So the manual, God gave a manual. God gave, a design and also provided a solution to our problems. So I believe that our point of development is our point of deviation from our maker, the one who is treated by the
I'd like to say,
Go ahead.
don't we see somewhere in there, but Jules come completely on the scene? He got a lot to do with it. Because me, myself, I bear witness that I'm a part of that. That's what messed me up with my son. Me and his mother was on Jules at the time. And it's a lot of
It's
Jules.
like one of the causes.
Yes, that's one of the causes.
Yes.
Custom, when children are involved or parents are involved in drugs, of course they can't be at home. In the course of my job, I have been to families, and you don't find the father. Sometimes the mothers will tell you can see them on the streets selling drugs.
Yeah.
So drug, like you said, is also part of the problem of the issue of fatherlessness and no one parent in our homes. So do you have any other questions?
So, the parents, men go to prison. Is that a contributing factor?
Men being in prison, the men who also went to prison also have they also have problems of fatherlessness, and that is part of the issue we have with our social system. They all end up in prison. Most of them end up in prison. We have a statistic of those who went to prison, and also how many of them were from broken homes. We have 71% of pregnant teenagers lack the father, and the source is the U.S. Department of human services. It says 71% of pregnant teenagers who don't have a father in their lives.
Yeah.
And then it says 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes.
Suicide from youth.
Yes, and that is U.S. Department of Health and Bureau of Census. You see, 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. And that is U.S. That is the same thing. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. That's the source. You see, 83% of children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. You see, 80% of rapists with anger problems come from fatherless homes.
Nobody needed.
And the source we have is the Criminal Justice and Behavior, volume 14, page 403 to 426. So you can see the whole lot of issues with, it's a chain, it's a vicious circle, a chain reaction, and it keeps going. So that's what it is. So let's run our conclusion because of our time. Like I said, it says in the design, so we need to take a more closer and proactive look at the original design and purpose for a family. The traditional marriage institution, the children and the role of parents. Children have a responsibility in the home, and parents have more responsibility in the home. So we see that as part of the problem. So we need to begin to address that in our homes, to be able to address the issue of fatherlessness, the effect of fatherlessness, the causes we already know, and then we need to address that by taking a look, going back to the drawing board and looking at the original design and the design and who is God. So let's, okay, and then it says, it says, in this design, I can't find divorce. The Bible says God is divorce, which is the primary cause of fatherlessness. I said, in this design, the original design of marriage, I can't find where responsibility is attributed. Then I can also find where separation, where one parent will live here and another one will live somewhere else. Then I can also find where there is premarital birth or the redefinition of marriage as part of, this package. It's a package that designed our household. But today we have designed our home, we packaged it, and that is the result of our repackaging. What God originally designed and packaged is part of our problem today. You see, there is an intelligent designer, and he demands our loyalty, total obedience, and wholesome compliance to this manual. Say, if we must reap the inherent benefits that were promised, surely if we consider this, we shall have a detour. We shall move away from our highway where we are moving now, from this present highway of destruction. And that is what fatherlessness is all about. So that's my brief presentation. And I hope
Thank you for lecturing us.
One or two things to go home with. Do I have more questions?
We shouldn't encourage people having children without getting married, because that doesn't let the father be at home and take care of his business, take care of his children.
And does anyone, in conclusion, have any experience? I know you have shared an experience from your own perspective, you said God. Then does anyone have any personal experience of something from somebody that wants to share with us, just in a few seconds, not even minutes, seconds?
From my experience being a single parent, it is, the kids get very influenced by other children that are not very good company, but I know from the fact that by the grace of God, if those children know God, God doesn't leave them. So I know they're being watched. God lets them sometimes get into these situations they're not supposed to be in, and lets them spend the night in jail or whatever, but God is still there for them. So statistics can say all they want, but and I agree.
The manual that was made for marriage. And who made the manual? That was God.
That was God.
So we should consult God.
Yeah.
Even when we have our problems, we didn't go.
Even though
He already knew the problems and he already has the answers to the
Father
problems.
is not there. God is there.
God is
We
the
all go back.
God is the father
Yeah,
of
he's
all
the
fathers.
father
He's an
of
awesome
He's
fathers.
the mother of all mothers.
Yes.
He's the one parent that covers both mother and
There
father.
you go.
That's the ultimate.
He's an
But he
awesome
has
father.
given us responsibilities,
Mhm.
and we have to do towards him to be able to meet those responsibilities.
Yep. He's an
All right.
awesome father.
Thank you, and
All right,
God
thank you.
bless you.
Thank you and sorry for
All
the
right.
time.
Thank you for your time. All right.